Today we are going to learn about vectors. But to understand vectors, first we need to know about scalars and its limitations. Scalars are those physical quantities that have only magnitudes, nothing else, and they can only be represented by numbers or digits, such as time, mass, distance, etc. But the question is, can we describe everything that is any physical process by the help of scalars only? Let's see in the following example. Let's consider this simple maze. Suppose you are at point A and your friend is at point B and you want to reach point B from point A. Your friend has a map of this maze and he exactly knows your location, but you don't know where your friend is. So he can tell you how to get to point B by giving you instructions. And for simplicity, let's consider each of these square has a side length of 100 meter. Now your friend starts telling you how to get to his location. He says first go 200 meter, then 200 meter and again 100 meter. So you followed his instructions and you first went 200 meter this way. Again from here you have to go 200 meter, but here you have 3 ways to go. Let's say you go this way. Now again you have to go 100 meter and again you have 3 ways to go. So at this junction you could reach this point or this point or maybe this point, that is your destination. So as you can see, your friend give you informations in terms of numbers or scalars, and these are insufficient to get the job done. For this, you need to provide a little bit of more information, that is the concept of direction. So if your friend told you that go first 200 meter north, then 200 meter east and then 100 meter north again, then you will surely reach the point B. So you can say vectors are scalars added with the concept of directions, a little bit of more information. So vectors are those physical quantities that have both magnitude and direction. But is it really true? Can we just call any quantity that have magnitude and direction as vectors? Let's consider the following circuit, which consists of a cell and few resistances. Here the currents flowing in the circuit as represented by these yellow arrows. Therefore, currents have both magnitude and direction, as they are usually represented by arrows. So now the question is current a vector quantity? The answer is no. Current is not a vector quantity. It is a scalar quantity, because to be a vector quantity, the physical entity should obey the addition rule of vectors. The addition and multiplication rules for vectors is very different from that of scalars. Therefore, the correct definition of vector is, vectors are those physical quantities that have magnitudes and direction and follow the laws of vector addition. Examples of vectors are like displacement, velocity, force, etc. Geometrically, vectors are represented by arrows. The length of this arrow gives the length of the vector or the magnitude of the vector. Each vector has an origin or the starting point and an end point or the terminus. Sometimes it is also called the head. The arrowhead represents the direction of the vector. To represent a vector mathematically, you need to know the origin and the end point of the vector. And to write it mathematically, first you have to write the origin, then the end point, and then you have to put the arrow over it. Sometimes a vector is also represented by boldfaces of the symbol. The magnitude of the vector is represented by just placing a mod over the vector. That is, mod of OA gives you the magnitude of the vector OA. Sometimes the magnitude is also represented by normal font face of the symbol. Now there are few important properties of vectors. Like vectors can be transformed or modified by various operations such as translations and rotations about a point. These transformations affect both the magnitude and direction of the vector and can be represented by matrices or other mathematical operations. If you rotate a vector by 2 pi or 360 degree, then you will get the same vector. A vector can be expressed in terms of its components along different axes or coordinate systems. These components are typically represented by scalars and can be used to break down the vector into its constituent parts along specific directions. The vectors of same nature can only be added. For example, a velocity vector can only be added with a velocity vector and it will give you another velocity vector. Or you can add a displacement with another displacement vector and it will give you another displacement vector. But you cannot add a velocity vector with a displacement vector. This is not allowed. Similarly, vector divisions are also not allowed because you cannot divide a direction of a vector with the direction of another vector. Now vectors can be categorized into two types, that is polar vectors and axial vectors. The vectors that have a starting point or a point of application are called polar vectors. And the vectors which represents rotational effects and act along the axis of rotation in accordance with right hand screw rule are called axial vectors. Polar vectors are used to represent the linear dynamics of a system, and the direction of a polar vector is same as the direction of motion of the system. On the other hand, the direction of an axial vector does not represent direction of motion or rotation of the body, rather its direction is taken to be along the axis of rotation. Some examples of polar vectors are displacement, acceleration, linear momentum, etc. And some examples of axial vectors are angular velocity, angular momentum, magnetic field, etc. Polar and axial vectors also play a very crucial role in electrodynamics. Two of the most important examples are electric dipole and magnetic dipole. With respect to a mirror plane, they transform differently and thus hold different properties. We will talk about polar and axial vectors in later of these videos. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we will learn about vector additions.